I'm Ayesha Sindhu and you're watching WION Sports, the show that has your daily fix of all things sports covered. Let's start with a look at the lineup on the show today. The latest in the battle for control of cricket in India, the Lodha panel demands the dismissal of the BCCI top brass as former Home Secretary GK Pillai should take over. India draw blood in Visakhapatnam, win the second test against England to go one up in the 5-test series. Newly crowned world number one Andy Murray beats Novak Djokovic in straight sets at the ATP World Tour Finals, holds on to that number one billing. And WION heads to the Delhi Half Marathon to take an exclusive look at what it takes to run one. We start with the latest in the saga of the battle for control in cricket in India. A Supreme Court appointed panel has recommended the removal of the top bosses of the BCCI, the world's richest cricket board. The Lodha panel has also said that former Home Secretary GK Pillai should be appointed observer to supervise the board's administration. The panel was appointed in the wake of the betting scandal in the Indian Premier League to suggest reforms in the cricket board. WION's Jessica Taneja joins us live from the newsroom for more on that story. Jessica, the battle seems to continue. Is the board counting on not having approval from all the state bodies yet to continue their resistance to the recommendations?
Well, we've seen that in the past also they've resisted recommendations stating that we've just had 2/3 of the votes from the state associations who would want to implement the Lodha committee recommendations. But at the moment it looks like Lodha panel is running out of patience, because we've been seeing that consistently Lodha panel has been suggesting that we need to remove the top brass in order to make the BCCI function. We need a CAG nominee. The one state, one vote should be taken off. So is the age and the tenure. But this battle seems to be in a continuation of sorts, because we are going to see in the future that there'll be some strict actions, because 3rd December is the deadline for BCCI to implement all the recommendations in totality. However, BCCI states its own reason, saying that 13 states associations are not agreeing and are facing sort of troubles to implement the Lodha committee recommendations. However, the Hyderabad Cricket Association today did agree and said we're going to accept the Lodha panel reforms in totality. But the 13 states that remain who haven't been able to accept the recommendations, I think would have to fall in line by 3rd of December. Ayesha.
Right, Jessica. So I guess it's wait and watch till that 3rd December deadline rolls by. Thanks so much for joining us and giving us your input on that story that you have been tracking for us on WION. Well, despite all those issues in the board, the Indian cricket team managed to be back to winning ways after a hard-fought draw at Rajkot. Virat Kohli's men put up a strong show in Visakhapatnam, beating England by 246 runs in the second test. The Indian spinners were back on song in the second innings, scalping 8 English wickets amongst them. After a hard-fought blockathon on the 4th day between the England openers, England faded away in the pre-lunch session on the final day, losing 5 wickets for the addition of just 55 runs. R. Ashwin and Jayant Yadav took 3 wickets each, while Ravindra Jadeja and Mohammad Shami took 2 wickets each. The third test begins in Mohali on November 26th. Right, to analyze this match more, senior sports journalist V. Srivatsa joins us from Hyderabad right now. Mr. Srivatsa, it's always a pleasure having you here on WION. Do you think that England's familiar problems against quality spin attack have been exposed once again?
Absolutely. I think this is the problem which they escaped in Rajkot, because they won the toss and put India under pressure. Whereas in Visakhapatnam, they just had no clue. The moment Virat Kohli won the toss, the match was more or less decided, because batting on the final day pitch, the 5th day or 4th day pitch, it's not very easy. But still, I must give credit to England for stretching it this far. because if you really look at it, if Cook had not got out last evening to the last ball of the day, perhaps they could have stretched it a little more.
Right.
But still, I thought there was very little hope of either drawing the match or winning. Of course, was never in a considered this thing, but they could have stretched it. See, the moment then the only other batsman who could have forced the issue was Joe Root. The moment the second ball got him out, there was little chance of their surviving.
Right. It's interesting you mentioned the toss, because Virat Kohli had said earlier that tosses don't really make that much of a difference when it comes to Test cricket. But were you surprised really about how the rest of the England team gave way after that blockathon by the England openers, that's Haseeb Hameed and Alistair Cook?
Yeah, that's true, because the way they batted yesterday, and even there, the moment having got out, LBW, the ball literally shooting through, and the rest of the batsmen had problems, because they knew in their mind they can make out that any ball can take them out suddenly, because it is uneven bounce, variable this thing. And so these things always play on a batsman's mind. So it's very difficult to bat in such a situation.
Right.
And lasting out 90.4 overs today was out of question. 90 overs, it's no. See how difficult it was for India to play out about 50 overs at Rajkot. It was not very easy. So that's what I'm saying, because it plays on the, when you are facing a big score, to get 300 odd runs on the final day, the fielding captain had all the trumps with him,
Right.
all the aces with him. He could do anything with that kind of a score.
Right. In fact, let's talk a little bit more about that wicket then. It was very apparent that it suited spinners. Do you think the Indian spinners managed to bowl better than the England ones, especially Jayant Yadav? England didn't even end up using Zafar Ansari in the second innings and just gave 3 overs to Moeen Ali. Adil Rashid alone, I don't think, was ever going to be enough.
It was baffling. Yes, considered that Indian batsmen are very good playing spin, but you should remember 4 years ago it was English spinners Indians could not play. Panny Montesor and Swan, they were so good, and because of that they packed the team with 3 spinners, and you don't bowl 2 of those spinners. That was a bad strategy, I thought, on the part of Cook. You could have easily used Moeen is their number one, unless you start realizing that in England it doesn't matter. Moeen bowls about 15-20 overs just to give rest to the pacer, because you play with 3 pacers there, so you can do anything.
Right.
But here on Indian wickets, if you don't bowl Moeen Ali, you just can't expect. And then you have included Ansari specifically as a left arm spinner, and you have 3 goods, and you have over bowled the leg spinner. Of
Right.
course, he bowled very well and he got wickets, but the fact remains that it's a one-sided bowling attack. If you do only one spinner bowling,
Right.
and you can make out, how long can you bowl?
I think
See,
you hit the
normally
nail on the
4-5
head by
overs you
saying that it
should
was
change.
almost
But
baffling, really speaking, about those decisions that were taken by Cook and company. But I suppose we'll have to watch how the spinners are utilized at the next match. We've completely run out of time. I wanted to talk to you more about the BCCI, but that'll have to wait for another day. Mr. Srivatsa, thanks so much for joining us here on WION Sports. We will chat with you more in the days to come. On the eve of the Airtel Delhi Half Marathon, WION's correspondent Shelja Verma caught up with the Olympian Jamaican sprinter Asafa Powell. Take a look at this exclusive report.
If Usain Bolt is known as Lightning Bolt, his fellow Jamaican sprinter Asafa Powell is known as
the Sub-10 King.
So we're very privileged to have you on WION, and welcome to India.
Thank you for having me.
So I believe this is your first trip to India. Puma has brought you here for the Delhi Half Marathon. How excited are you?
Well, I'm very excited. I don't know what to expect. I've never done a marathon before. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow, but, definitely I'm looking forward to it. I'm very excited to be here. Thanks for Puma for bringing me here to really support this event.
Safa, you met legendary sports persons like Milkha Singh, Ashwini Nachappa and other people. What was your experience of that? You also met PT Usha.
Well, it's a great privilege for me to meet, you guys stars, from, was done so much for the country. And, it's a pity athletes after didn't pick up in their footsteps and really show to the world that India can produce, world-class athletes. So for me, it was a great privilege to be, around, people that was, in my, I would say, at my level, of competitions.
So the face masks may have been out in full force to battle the city's smog, but the Delhi Half Marathon saw more than 12,000 runners take the streets for a shot at the $270,000 US prize. In the end, though, it was the reigning Olympic champion Eliud Kipchoge who pocketed the purse. WION's Jessica Taneja caught up with the Kenyan Olympic long-distance runner and other participants in New Delhi. Take a look.
For many people, marathons are the ultimate test of mental and physical strength. Every year, thousands descend on the Indian capital's road to challenge themselves at the city's elite half marathon in an exhibition of fitness and endurance.
I ran my first half marathon in 2012. From then to now, the number of people who've been running and who've become active has increased. So I just think people have to realize that anyone can run. I know people who had never run more than 5 kilometers and are now running full marathon.
But precarious conditions in the weeks leading up to the event have made it difficult for athletes to work out in Delhi's smog-filled air. Many expressed concerns over air quality, which made it tough for them to work out outdoors.
When you run in New Delhi, in this area, we have large roads. It's really easy to run. We are not in small streets. It's always better to run outside, but for me it was not possible. It was really too high, even with a mask.
But despite the issue of Delhi's air, the half marathon saw a successful finish with none other than Eliud Kipchoge winning the race. The Kenyan only happens to be the men's marathon gold medalist at this year's Rio Olympics. What can you tell us about fitness? What does fitness mean to you?
Actually, fitness means many things. Fitness means to be fit both mentally and physically. Because when you go to run, then you become fit physically and also in your mind. And what I'm actually urging those people, everybody in India, is that the reason for running is to make our heart strong. But we can't build the muscle of heart that just system down. We build it by walking around, running, jogging, and doing all sorts of things. So I will urge everybody to jog around. Just take 30 minutes a day, and your heart will be healthy.
What's your advice to people who need to be fit or should make an effort to start getting fitter?
To start jogging, you start by walking around in the morning. You don't just run. But my advice is start walking today for the whole week. Next week you start jogging. The other week, 1 month you start running. And if you run you just take only 30 minutes a day. That's 210 minutes a week, and that's you are fit.
3, 2, 1. For many like Kipchoge, endurance training and running marathon is part and parcel of everyday life. But the sheer number of athletes on a view at the half marathon goes to show that running is slowly becoming a passion for many folks in India too. Jessica Taneja for WION in New Delhi.
On that note, we're going to take a quick break, but when we return, more from the world of rugby. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching WION Sports. We start this segment with news from tennis. Andy Murray will end the year as the world number 1 following his 6-3, 6-4 win over Novak Djokovic in the final of the ATP World Tour Finals. Murray had beaten Djokovic just 10 times in 34 attempts before the showdown clash. The Scot showed no signs of fatigue from his thrilling semi-final win over Milos Raonic when he took on Djokovic for the title. Meanwhile, the Serb paid the price for his errors, which were aplenty. In fact, Murray clinched the first set 6-3 in just 46 minutes. The second set continued in similar fashion, ending 6-4 in the world number 1's favour. With this win, Murray ends Djokovic's 4-year winning streak at the Tour Finals. This is, of course, Murray's maiden title at the year-end tournament. He now becomes the first British player to finish top of the rankings since the system was introduced in 1973.
You know, a great year this year, and I only managed to do it by one match. So, you know, to repeat that again next year is going to be extremely difficult. But now that I've got there, I would obviously, you know, would be motivated to try and stay in that position.
You know, as I said yesterday after my semi-finals, I didn't expect him to be too tired, but I just played very poorly, made a lot of unforced errors from the backhand side, but it just wasn't my day. On the other hand, credit to Andy for being mentally tough and you know, playing the right shots, making me play extra shot and in every rally. So he definitely deserved to win.
Joining us live right now for more from Serbia is Sasha Ozmo, a sports journalist. Sasha, thanks so much for speaking with us here on WION. Tell me, what surprised you most in that match? Was it the errors or the scoreline at the end of the day? It was straight sets.
I wouldn't say anything surprised me because there is no predicting when these two guys played. Maybe I was a bit caught off guard by the way Novak didn't appear for a set and a half on the court practically. And I was, all right, I can tell you I was most surprised with the way he returned. I mean, he's the guy with the best return ever, probably. And in the first 3 games, Andy barely made like 50% of his first serve. So Novak got really good chances on the second serve that were slow and short, but he didn't use any of it. And that is so unlike him. After that, Andy took control of the match. He was being more aggressive while Novak was kind of pushing the ball. Djokovic started to hit it a bit more cleanly in the second set, but by then Andy was full of confidence and there were just no turning back.
Right. In fact, I'm glad you mentioned that. So Andy has only beaten Djokovic 10 times prior to that showdown yesterday. Does that go to show like the breaking through of that final mental barrier even for Murray, that Djokovic doesn't really appear like a huge threat anymore?
Oh, I wouldn't say that a guy who has beaten you 24 times isn't a huge threat anymore. I mean, it's just one match. You have to take into consideration the state of both of them in the last 5 months. And he's been playing tennis of his career while Novak has been struggling for a few months now. But he's been able to win 4 matches in a row, and that is a good sign for him. Of course, Andy totally deserved to be the number 1. He's had like 24 wins in a row, and beating Djokovic is just a cherry on the top. But I'm guessing we'll see a lot more matches between them and a lot more wins for both Djokovic and Murray.
All right, very quickly, Sasha, what do you predict as far as the coaching relationship goes then with Novak Djokovic and Boris Becker? You think that's going to continue in the 2017 season?
I think we can't make any sure predictions. I think Novak's going to have to use this off-season to pull himself together to deal with some small niggles he's been dealing with for some time now, and to start the new season really fresh. And about the coaching team, I guess we'll see. We can't say anything for sure right now.
All right, fantastic. Sasha Ozmo, thanks so much for joining us here on WION. We appreciate your time. We're going to move on to Australia, who blew away New Zealand 34-8 to clinch victory in the Four Nations at Anfield. The Aussies went through the tournament unbeaten by winning the title from the Kiwis. Australia also reclaimed the world number 1 ranking. Now, New Zealand's poor record in England continues as they lost a test series against England in 2015 and have not won a Tri-Nations or Four Nations. With this latest loss, the Kiwis' shot at a World Cup dwindles only further. All right, that's it from us for now. Do remember to tune in same time tomorrow for all your sports news and updates. Thanks for joining us.